So lately I'm noticing a lot of people are chasing the peak performance tagline. They are trying to do anything they can to be performing at the top of their game 24/7, whether that's supplements, biohacks, or crazy new diets that they can find online. These people are really striving to make sure they can be at their own personal peak performance, reaching that potential 24/7. Now, here's my problem with that. It's completely unrealistic. There's only one time you want to be going for peak performance, and that is if you are an athlete or if you're a businessman or you've got an important meeting coming up and you need to be at your absolute best for one day, one moment, one time, with agreed upon rules, agreed upon settings where you can train and practice for that exact environment. That's the only time peak performance matters. Because here's the thing about it. It's miserable to go through. The people who are on peak performances, like the athletes in the Olympics, everything has to be tracked, measured, just right, just to build you up to that moment where you can pull out the best of what you can do at the right moment. These people, if you follow any of their biographies, any of their interviews, they'll all say the same thing, that they were miserable, that their lifestyle was so boring, they couldn't socialise or see anyone, and they had to be in bed at certain times. All of their food was constantly weighed, and every gram mattered, every supplement mattered. They couldn't even eat without weighing everything, and they couldn't walk down the street without checking their measurements, making sure they're not either burning too much calories or too little, making sure they're not building on enough muscle or getting on too little as well. All of these things in the normal everyday person can cause some big problems. And anytime I've seen clients or I've seen people encourage this kind of mentality, I notice a couple things happen. And the first thing that happens is usually that person will burn out. They will just be burned into the ground. They cannot hack it. There's too much pressure to do it, so they crack. The next thing is they are just generally miserable and they feel depressed and they feel defeated, like they can't actually get anything right. Peak performance is not something you want to be striving for 95% of the population, myself included. I don't want to be a peak performer. I want to peak perform at certain specific times of my choice, but I don't want to be doing that 24/7. It's just not possible. You'd never expect an athlete to be at their best all the time, every second, every game. It doesn't work that way. So why is it people have that same attitude when it comes to performing at work, in the office, as they're parenting, whatever that challenge happens to be for you? Instead of striving for peak performance, try and optimize your life. The two are very different. Peak performance is up here, where you just hit it. Optimizing your performance is when you operate at a baseline, and all you're looking to do is raise that baseline of what you can do gradually, bit at a time, and bringing your whole standard of life up until you reach a point that you are happy and you feel like you can perform at 80 to 90% of your best, I'd say most of the time. Still expect you're going to have some down days and some bad days. That's okay. We're all human. We all need some time off. We all need rest and recovery, and no one can be on all the time. But start looking at optimizing your performance instead of reaching for that peak every time. Now, what does that mean for you? Well, that's a question I'd like to ask you right now. For you, does that mean drinking an extra glass of water? Does it mean getting into bed half an hour earlier? Does it mean eating a bit more protein or going for an extra walk in the day, doing a bit more exercise? That's for you to decide. But if you need any help with it, I'm here to talk to you about it as well.